Meeting order. Good morning, everyone. We're waiting on our county clerk and we'll get started. Sarah. Lots of bills to pay.
Got bills to pay. Putting down some rock, huh?
There she is. Morning, Pam. We are live on our video streaming. Let's run through our introductions again. I'm Randy Bergkamp, Commissioner Larry Stratton, Commissioner Gary Hicks, Dr. Pam Grower, County Clerk. We're joined by Andrew Shealy of the Phelps County Focus. And it's Thursday morning, April the 9th, and we're waiting on is Sarah due here at 9 o'clock? Or was it 10 o'clock?
I don't know. I'm in here.
Okay.
Anyway.
All right. While we're waiting on Sarah, would Carol want to go ahead and do her sales tax report, perhaps?
Let me see. She's- Did you want to come in and present sales tax? Okay, all right, bye. So she said that she would leave that up to us to do.
You got one for Andrew?
I'll loan him mine.
What we received is the monthly sales tax receipts from the Department of Revenue. Our local businesses submit their sales tax to the state, and the state returns it to us. And what do you see it doing? Pam?
Oh, what is the rolling 12 month?
2.65. The rolling 12 month is at 2.65% up. The variance of from 19 to 20 year to date is down 0.55%. Not quite, a little over 0.5% down.
This would be reflective of money spent in February.
Correct. That's Carol usually says there's a 2-month lag.
This was just the very beginning of the, when it wasn't late February, we started hearing feelings a little bit about the COVID-19 at the very end of that. So I think we reasonably expect this to take a plunge over the next couple of months.
Agreed.
Maybe by the time August gets here, which would be reflective of June's sales tax, maybe at that point we would maybe start seeing some evening out again. I hope so.
That would be our hope. We did the budget before we knew anything about COVID-19. Had no way of knowing that this was going to hit us, so we may have to do some budget work. How many folks we got on there, Peter? 10 right now. Okay, thank you. The 10 folks watching us at home, let's give them a heads up that we can anticipate a pretty dramatic budget impact for the county's budget. Is that a fair statement, budget officer? The governor has just got his approved, I think, his amended budget. Is that also accurate?
Yeah, I was curious why it started in the Senate.
Yeah, it's House, usually it's a House of Representatives.
Seems a little odd.
Have you got, is that what you got here?
No, I have an email here about the Missouri Association of Counties. It's working to get details about how the 150 billion in funds, from the CARES Act, for states, tribal governments, territories, and local government, with populations greater than 500,000 will be distributed in Missouri. Looks to me like Missouri's portion of the 150 billion will be nearly 2.4 billion. And so we may get relief from the federal government to assist in our budget shortfall due to this. So we'll keep our eye on that and see how we can utilize any resources that may become available to us. Okay, I'm sure we'll be watching that closely.
Rachel said Sarah's going to join the Zoom meeting at 9:35.
Sarah will be here.
Zoom meeting, I guess. So I'm going to guess she's going to join through Zoom.
How does that work? Okay, that'll be one.
Okay, then.
We'll learn it about it.
Yeah.
We're doing general invoices in the amount of $67,483.84 from M to Z. Here, yes.
And Gary has 8L.
8L, Lord only knows how much that is.
It is, it's just $9,123.33.
Okay. Again, for the, excuse me, for the benefit of those watching online, we would tell you that we have the burden, or the responsibility, I shouldn't say burden, of approving every expenditure made by the county. And that's what we're doing with these stack of bills. Requires authority from county commission to spend the money.
I will note that the prison food service, jail food service is markedly lower.
Because
The census is lower.
Population, jail population is low.
Running on 160 instead of 200. And I can only assume that there's been sort of a freeze on movements.
the courts are,
Well, and cohorting, perhaps. Don't you suppose they're trying to cohort prisoners? Inmates? To some extent,
possibly.
yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
It could be with the absence of court actions that there are fewer folks being put in jail because the courts are not operating. So
Yeah, it's definitely a significant drop. It had tended to be around 200. The number of meals for a given day, given meal. And this invoice from Summit Food Services was about 160. Some of the private businesses in town are paying people.
Interesting.
Have you heard anything about it?
There was there have been reports on national about some of the, what was it, Andrew? Wasn't it the truck drivers, the delivery drivers, and the folks that are got to be there, got to be there. There was some union inquiry about hazard pay, I think. That's the only thing I've heard about it. Pam, what are you hearing locally?
Well, there's a business in town paying people a couple dollars an hour. in hazard pay.
What sector? Food service or?
No, cashier, retail.
You're right, we're putting rock on the roads. In that batch, there's 210 tons from Crawford which would indicate that our road crew is doing work over in the western part of the county because Crawford Line is close to their area. St. Robert, Dixon area. So our road crew continues to
Get the job done, huh?
do their job, yeah.
Speaking of road crew, it might be time to bid contract hauling.
Okay, it probably is, yeah. Mhm.
Okay, we're a little bit later than last year. Here is the bid solicitation from last year. I would have to change the dates on it. I got, the road department told me this morning that would be suitable aside from the date issue.
Okay.
For the text, that would be fine with them. They're all.
They're ready to solicit now. Are they, Pam?
Yeah, they want the solicitation to be published. So if it publishes Saturday, the 11th, which maybe I could get it in Saturday, the 11th, would opening at 9 a.m. Thursday, April 23rd, be enough time for free and fair competition.
That would be the 11th. The 23rd would be
12 days.
12 days. We might want to move to the 28th, maybe, Pam. You think 2 weeks, and then we try to give them?
That's what you've said in the past, 2 weeks. I'm just, because it is a little bit later than it was last year. Just kind of thinking.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any demand they have right now for contract hauling. You fellas said, "Oh, this is down." The potential is during the paving season.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. If it's already, if you're comfortable with, let's go to 28.
28th, Tuesday.
What time you want to do it?
9 o'clock.
Make a motion to approve the solicitation of bids for contract. All
Second.
There you go.
Were you expecting Ashley to sit in today, and give us an update?
I wasn't expecting it.
Larry had a conversation with Ed Clayton earlier this morning. He's coming in next Tuesday at 9 o'clock.
So what, I didn't check the DHSS site this morning. What has happened? Does Phelps County still show one positive case?
No, it no longer shows a positive case.
No longer. What's the end point?
Ashley said all along, you think it was difficult to put emergency order in place. Wait till you try to determine when it's over. It's gonna be the harder decision.
And that will occur by the governor on or before the 24th. Determine if the stay-at-home order stays in effect.
Yeah, this is when he said to either renew or rescind.
24. Boy, that's. That's a week from Friday, 2 weeks from Friday.
Now, the city of Rollins, though, continues to be near the 11th.
I think everyone stands to amend that, depending on the environment at the time.
Now, their next city council is the 21st, 2020.
It was this Monday, the 6th, so we have like
I would like to, if I might, utilize the commission minutes to recognize the service of the election judges in March.
That'd be most appropriate, I think.
surely would.
I have a listing of all the people who worked. And those who were willing to work and just didn't get called because of circumstances. But I would like to see all those people recognized. Now, in the past, I think, in the maybe distant past, the judges were, their names were entered into the record, kind of as a, you know,
Tribute?
yeah.
Okay, that'd be fine. It'd be wonderful. Do you want to read them?
I can print them and read them.
However you like.
Let me go grab.
Okay.
This batch has actually invoices from 2 more quarries. Doing the rough math, probably around in excess of 600 tons that they've utilized from these 2 other quarries, because we award the bids for rock to most of the suppliers in the area, giving us the latitude to utilize the quarry that is closest to where the rock is being placed. So we try to be efficient. Usually the bids are extremely close. And so we award it to cut down on the amount of product that our dump trucks have to do. But each of our dump trucks probably amasses in excess of 50,000 miles a year. So anytime we can cut that down, it helps in our maintenance. And employee time on the road. Our road crew does a very good job of utilizing their resources.
Yeah. There's folks watching online, got to give that road bridge number if anybody has a road plate. But streets or uh,
1-2-515 1-800-295-5156.
and they have an answering machine 24/7. You can call that number 24/7 and leave a message with any road problems. And they'd be appreciative of it. If there's one out there, they want to know about it. They're pretty good about taking care of them, I think. Pretty proud of the job they do.
Yes, over the past few years, we've afforded the road crew equipment to maintain the roads. Got state-of-the-art equipment now, and I think they really know how to use it. Good job. Yes.
Yeah, that'd be over in Larry's area.
Yes, I looked at the actual invoices, and I don't know if it specified where the road, what road those loads were going to.
Does Crawford refer to Crawford County? Or is it-
Apparently, it's
Well-
Lost Quarry in Cuba.
Oh.
They call it Crawford Lime and Materials.
Yeah, I guess the one I was thinking of is Willard. Willard is over at west, correct?
Huge plant over there. Willard is a huge operation.
And I think we probably bought 300 or 400 tons from them this month.
That's the same family that ran the racetrack. And
That is true.
Isn't that
Because,
right?
yeah.
Did you race over there?
No. Right.
There were local folks that would go over there and compete. I don't know if they still have.
Oh. I think so.
Do they? Do you do that, Andrew? Do you go to stock car races? Well, we were just talking about whether or not they still do it down in Lebanon. There used to be some local folks who used to go down there and keep cars. But yeah. My brother used to be into it. Well, in fact, we've had some locals that made the big time on the NASCAR circuit. Rusty Wallace is local talent. There are others that have made the big time. Did you find them, Pam?
Yep, I got it. And I got the bid to the paper. That's what took so long. Anyway. So these are the names of the people, the election judges for the Phelps County March 10th, 2020 presidential preference primary, who either came to training and/or worked in the polls. And I would like to express my appreciation for their willingness to help see that the election proceeded in a orderly way. Adam M. Darknell, Agnes C. Yules, Alice D. Blue, Anastasia D. Smith, Ann L. Murphy, Barbara D. Watkins, Beverly A. Schrock, Brenda M. Haight, Carl M. Haight, Carol A. Becker, Carol J. Bennett, Carol Rowling, Carolyn J. Root, Carolyn S. Baumgartner, Charles L. Dean, Christina D. Miller, Christine R. Gully, Clarence E. Schrock, Clark Harrison, Constance D. Roberts, Constance V. Williams, Dale R. Carpentier, Daniel E. Woodward, Danny H. Maxey, David B. Nenninger, David C. Smith, David R. Wallace, Dale A. Bramall, Denise L. Cisco, Diane R. Hess, Elizabeth Cross, Ellen K. Williamson, Emily Flagg, Francis P. Samuel, Fred D. Blue III, Jean DeLuca, George C. Ashford, Gerald N. W. Greenway, Jerry C. Armali, Gloria J. Roberts, Hazel D. Shaw, Helen A. Muma, James Eric McGrath, James R. Grieg, James S. Zimmerman, Jane Ann Dare, Janice Gilliam, Janice L. Cunningham, Janice L. Goddard, Jasmine A. Hall, Gina G. Wazinga, Jenny Chapman, Jeremy Martin, Jill A. Johnson, John Michael Flowers, Joseph E. Neidert, Joshua J. Ashby, Karen M. Watson, Karen Paul, Kathleen L. Nickerson, Catherine H. Jones, Keith E. Reese, Kimala J. Johnson, Christina Leininger, Larry Taylor, Leslie S. Bearden, Lewis Hall, Linda L. Loudon, Linda S. Williams, Lisa L. Olds, Lorelei R. Lather, Lauren Hall, Loretta L. Cornick, Lorna S. Pruitt, Madeline N. Carden, Marcia J. Ridley, Marcia New, Marga M. Martin, Marilyn Greenway, Marcia L. Delano, Marvin H. O'Brien, who served for many, many years, and this was his last election, and he is 90 years old.
There you go, Marvin, thank you.
Marvin L. Bixler, Mary A. Rosenberg, Mary Buchler, Mary K. Harris, Mary L. Pulcini Lebedowitz, Melinda J. Hines, Marilyn K. Martin, Myrna Ruff, Nancy E. McWhorter, Nathaniel Dyer, Norma G. Harris, Patricia Lazat, Patrick S. Creamer, Patsy C. Davis, Paul E. Goddard, Paxton J. Mouse, Peggy J. Craney, Philip A. Delashman, Placide A. Hauser, Rachel L. Martin, Rebecca L. Varney, Robert C. Loudon, Robert James Cesario, Robert W. Whitus, Ronald B. Russell, Ronald D. McClanahan, Ruby I. Crowley, Sally Tennyson, Samantha Shoemate, Sandra E. Ford, Sarah M. Andrus, Sean R. Johnson, Shireen A. Borneman, Sharon Lennox, Stephen J. Zapp, Stephen J. Olds, Susan Marie Corson, Tara L. Miller, Terry D. Boyce, Todd Doyle Jr., Tracy Ann Enke, Veronica Reagan, Velma Overby, Virginia Z. Lomax, Viva D. Dix, Wanda L. Reveal, Wilbur Galen Johnson, William J. Delano IV.
Wow, what an impressive list, huh?
I recognize a lot of names.
Sure. Takes a lot of folks to have an election, doesn't it?
It does. Minimum of 4 per polling place per state statute, 2 bipartisan teams. So that means 76 right there. 76 right there. Then we have some absentee judges that come in. We have the certification judge team, which is Beth Cross and Galen Johnson. We have hospitality workers. We have contract labor.
Wow. Okay, and how many hours does a typical poll worker put in on election day?
Well, I mean, it's 5 a.m. till after 7 p.m. And then they have to, if they're the supervisory judges, they have to wait until their precinct returns are generated here the night of the election. So it is about a 17-hour long day.
Wow.
And that's just, that doesn't count getting ready, and packing your lunch, and then getting yourself home again.
It's amazing you got that many people willing to do it, Pam, and that's we sure appreciate every one of them. But most happy to see their names in the commission minutes.
Yeah.
Expression of our appreciation.
Yeah.
Can't have an election without them.
No, we can't.
All right, thank you, Pam. It's time for Sarah.
So did you finish both of these batches or is? oh,
There's
you-
Rachel.
I'm
Morning,
here to
Rachel.
help on behalf of Sarah.
Okay.
So I'm going to unmute her so she'll be able to talk with us. We should hear her through the iPad up front.
Rachel Buneman from our extension office joins us, and she's gonna get us hooked up with Sarah so we can hear about a grant opportunity. Just about got him, Pam. I have him for you in just a sec.
Sarah, can you try to verbalize so I can check the audio, please?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Sarah, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Are you ready for me?
Yes, we are.
Okay. So the grant that Rachel sent the link to it. So it's called the Tree Resource Improvement and Maintenance Grant, and it's from the Department of Conservation. And it's kind of for any public entity that's interested in training someone on tree maintenance or maybe doing a tree project. And so the idea came to me. So many of the trees that are around the courthouse are Callery pear or Bradford pear, which is considered an invasive species in Missouri.
Sarah, may I interrupt you? Are they the same tree? Is that just a different name for the same tree?
It is. So Callery pear is actually the original cultivar that came over from Asia. And it actually was brought over in the 50s as a potential rootstock for our regular pears like we would eat. They were going to use this as a rootstock for that. And then in the horticulture end, they developed ornamental trees from it. And that's kind of how it started. And they're supposed to be sterile, so they weren't supposed to reproduce. But we ended up having so many different cultivars introduced in landscaping that they started to cross-pollinate and they were able to reproduce. They also root sprout, which is what's led to some of their invasive action. And again, they break really easy, and ours around the courthouse have held up really well. So I'm actually impressed by that because they do break in really easily.
Yeah, my neighbor has them in his yard, and he's had several of them blow over, just snap right at the trunk.
Yeah.
During
Yes.
storms, you know.
So, and ours are quite large at the courthouse. So I know it's quite an undertaking. So this trim grant, which I'm happy to help with, putting it together, but it could help offset the cost of removal and of course replacement. I also reached out. So Rawl is in the process of becoming a Tree City USA. So if you're in a Tree City, they actually have a larger share. So it's 60% paid for by MDC and then 40% paid for by the entity. But if it's in a Tree City, it's actually a 75-25 split if they approve your request. But also if our request was not approved or if we wanted to go a different angle, the MDC Forester said we could also potentially reach out for some Arbor Day funds and look into, MDC's been offering kind of bounties on calorie pear removal. So we haven't done it in Raleigh. In the urban areas, if you cut down a calorie pear and then show proof of it, they'll give you a new free potted tree to replace it. But there might be some funding from MDC if we were to, kind of show proof that we were cutting them down as far as an offset of cost.
They give you a new what kind of tree?
Usually a native species. So in our case, probably in that particular part of our landscaping, we'd want something that's not going to get 100 feet tall. So it'd probably be something like a decorative plum or crabapple, something kind of similar to the calorie pear.
Okay.
But both of those are a mess. The leaves and the fruits.
Yes.
it's prolific. I think that's one of the good things about the Bradfords, although they do have the roots sprout. They're not as big a mess as a crab apple. That's
Yes, yeah. So, and there are other ones that are not as messy, but also would have like a decorative flower to them. It'd just be a matter of working with, you know, figuring out which one you like best.
Okay, well, that's kind of exciting. How long does it typically take the city of Raleigh or any city to establish their position as a tree city? Sarah, is that a
So
big
from
deal?
what It's a, they have, the biggest part of it is putting a board in place. So they have to have what's considered a tree board in place, which Raleigh does, has put it in place. Mike Fleshauer, who's the Department of Conservation Forester, he sits on that Tree City board. So, and I think he mentioned in an email to me that they've finished all of their approval for it. We just haven't gotten the sign yet. So as soon as it's all completely wrapped up, they usually send a sign or two to put it city limits.
Okay, okay.
we don't want sweet gums.
No sweet gums, no sweet gums. I'm partial to tulip poplars are one of my favorites, and they're a fairly clean tree, and they have a really interesting flower that's a yellowish, greenish color. But
Okay.
They get pretty
They get
big.
don't they?
they do get fairly large.
So the question is, what are we gonna put back in our place, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Like the old maple trees or the old elm trees, are they, no, the elm tree, I guess they're pretty well a thing of the past, I guess, aren't they?
So the elm, yeah, the elm trees, and of course ash trees are out because emerald ash borer. But maple trees are still a great choice. So a sugar maple will stay on the.
There are also hard maples that could be all right because they're fairly slow growing, correct?
Yep.
What about dogwoods? Where do they fall in?
So they would,
dog-
yeah, they'll
You
stay
like
in the.
dogwood, Sarah?
I do like dogwoods.
Are they a good choice for around the building?
So I'm not sure if they would do great around the building because of the full sun. So they're an understory tree that kind of likes to sit in the shade.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not sure how they'd like the full sun, but they would be very pretty.
It seems like there's some hybrid dogwoods that do well out in the sun. Perhaps the pink
Yeah.
variety, maybe.
The pink variety, yeah, that would be pretty.
Okay. What happens next, Sarah? Do you have paperwork and all that?
Yeah, so Rachel sent the link this morning for the grant application, and there's paperwork there. And I'm happy to help fill it out and work with, groundskeeper and kind of figuring out what we want to do, because they asked that we include kind of maps and a plan of what we're going to do.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, Mark Brookshire would play a key role in that.
Okay. And then the due date is the first Friday in June
Okay.
for the application, and then decisions are put out in September, and they kind of have you do the work over the winter. So by May 5th, you're supposed to be done.
Okay. Now, are these opportunities available to our citizens as well, Sarah?
Yeah, so the trim grant is available to any public entity, and as long as they're doing the work on a publicly owned piece of property, so the courthouse, if it was a city park, a county park, they can apply for these trim grants. Even schools can apply for the trim grant as well.
Okay, not private citizens, just public property, huh?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So, and it can be used for a project like this. It can also be used if you wanted training for your, the groundskeeper as far as tree pruning or tree maintenance.
Okay.
What is the source of the MDC funds?
The source of the MDC funds, Pam's asking about, Sarah, is this from the 1/10 of a cent sales tax? Is that where they get this money?
I believe so. So they've also get some money from the Missouri Community Forest Council.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Rachel.
Is any of this money federal?
Not as far as I know.
Pam has to keep track of that for our auditors, how much federal money comes through.
Okay, and I can reach out to my NDC contact and ask if any of it is federal money as well.
Well, if you would, please, that's important to Pam.
Yes,
Important to all of
absolutely.
us. Okay.
You know, it would be pretty, all that land down in Jerome that we're buying. Yeah, trees on that stuff.
Yeah, I thought of that.
And to discourage maybe uses that we wouldn't want there.
It'd be great just for those to all grow up into trees and then an understory and just go back to nature.
That's something to think about.
It would stabilize those areas.
Okay, so it says, for assistance with your application, contact the local MDC forester, and you can help us with that, huh?
I can help you with that. Yep.
Okay, great.
Does she know how many trees we have?
Wouldn't qualify. Have you got a rough count on how many trees we've got around here, Sarah, that would qualify? Pam's asking.
Say my rough count is about 15. So all the ones that are along 2nd Street are Bradford pear, Calorie pear, and then also by the bridge over the train tracks.
Yeah.
So those 2 lines of trees are also Calorie pear.
Okay. All right, Sarah, this is interesting. Other questions for Sarah, anybody? We go get Mark in the loop, had this conversation, Sarah, see if we can't get something going on it.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in or taking time to talk to us this morning.
Yeah,
Stay healthy.
You as well.
All right, Sarah. See you later.
We had these trees out here trimmed about 3 years ago, and it was quite a drastic trim. And I just noticed this morning walking in, because we had discussed it, of just how nice that they have kind of filled in, and they've got just a beautiful shape to them now instead of tall and spindly, which creates part of the problem with them splitting.
Okay.
They look pretty good now. I don't know if ours are, if the birds are eating the seeds and carrying them off somewhere for them to be.
That would be a problem.
Yeah.
Are they good for firewood?
Probably after their season, they would probably burn a lot like pine. They wouldn't, it wouldn't be like burning walnut.
Yeah, yeah. They'd burn, but probably would be all
Wicked
that
hot.
good, yeah. Let's see, we need to get a hold of Mark and give him a heads up on this. Rachel, thank you again
Thank you.
for your assistance, man. We appreciate it.
You all have a great day.
All right,
Let me know if
you
there's anything we can help with.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. I better get these finished or Pam's gonna be there for me. Andrew, you got everything you think's worth getting?
So, it's like we're on the agenda.
Yeah. And we don't, not much chance anybody will come walking in. Give them a turn.
got the front door locked.
Yeah, it should cut it down quite a bit.
We don't like that.
No, we don't.
Have a good day.
All right, you too. So we'll say this, Chris Steen, one of the bailiffs told me that it was Monday, they had 42 people at the door who came in and did business. I'm not sure they came in, but they came to.
Yeah.
So I'm
Things are happening. It's just
right. We're
not.
still doing business, right? Still open for business.
Alrighty.
Well, I know I sure try to stay at home. I try to limit my trips to the grocery store to once a week. You know,
With 2 little ones at home, that's got to be a challenge.
yeah, it takes about 4 gallons of milk a week for them.
Or you find it when you go to the store, you find everything.
Oh,
you need.
yeah, yeah. The only thing that's in short supply still yet is flour. And
Flour.
they may have it now. And toilet paper. Other than that, I haven't seen any. There's still lots of meat, although I heard that 2 major packing companies are shutting down their processing plants. But I don't know. I still buy the meat on sale.
Yeah.
So, you know, I try to keep stock. That's, you know.
The only one I saw we're out of hamburgers sign in one grocery store. It's been a while back, but then there was a sign that said, "Please only use 1 pound or 5 pounds, whatever it was per purchase or something." That was just hamburger, not the other cuts of meat.
Well, the bread is back on the shelves. That was a frustration. It's you go in there and the bread racks are empty, and it's simply because people can freeze bread, you know. And there was a certain amount of panic, and panic buying is what caused the shortage. There wasn't really a shortage, I don't think. It's just panic buying. So I go through about 3 or 4 loads of bread a week. I shouldn't. But my baby's like peanut butter and jelly.
Who does?
Well, yeah.
Like a good peanut butter. Use carb-free bread and low sugar jelly. And
Well, I can't go there.
well, it's not as good, but
But it may be healthier.
Yep.
No, we're richly blessed here in the heart of America to have groceries that keep us well supplied. We like to eat.
So, yeah, the health form, which is updated because we have a new HR deputy.
You guys met Pam's new employee?
No.
she's from the Stevenson family. That's the heating and air conditioning for years.
Oh,
You know, Mark,
sure.
what's Mark's brother? Maybe Mark's son has it now.
Anyway. They've sort of changed the verbiage on here. I think the last one that was signed might have had you listed as chief administrative official or something. Now they have the HIPAA privacy officer. And one thing the HIPAA privacy officer does is decide on who can be the authorized individuals.
Okay.
And what permissions those individuals will have. And the strange thing is that there's 2 categories of permission sets. One is demographics and claims, which is SS number, date of birth, address, eligibility, like what plan they're in, dates of service, provider services, diagnoses, and plans and member changes. And then the other set just adds salary information,
Come in, Rick, come in.
which you have anyway. Because you approve payroll and you approve budget,
How are you?
Huh?
How are you?
public.
Personal health
Go from 90
information
degrees
is
to 50 degrees.
is the one big
Right.
You're on
restriction.
YouTube, by
I
the
don't
way.
know.
You're on YouTube, by the way.
Maybe this is written
They're
for
live
the
streaming.
private sector.
Huh?
They're
or-
live streaming.
That may be,
Why?
maybe. Okay, so we
So
need
it's
a new HIPAA officer.
Requirement, sunshine
I'm
requirements.
willing to be that person unless you want to be that person.
As much as I'd be proud to, I'm gonna suggest we make him our new HIPAA officer. What do you think?
Yeah.
That's your motion?
Compliance.
No, it's the HIPAA privacy officer who is the one who can designate what permission set what person will get. But the permission sets, it's kind of like, I mean, the demographics and claims, that is the real private information that ought to be, you know. And then
Absolutely.
to add on to that, the information, just like with us,
We look at it.
we look at it anyway.
Well,
We
it's
have it
public
Public
knowledge.
Yeah, public employee, I don't,
Larry's moved to make them the HIPAA privacy
So
officer.
I'll gladly second that. If you could.
Congratulations, Pam.
hey, woo.
What we also probably need to do is to make sure our new employee is one of the allowed people on GBS.
Well, this is their form.
Oh, that's their.
Yeah, that's their
Okay.
form, yeah,
All right, I got it.
I didn't make that.
Okay.
There have been a couple occasions when my pre-review of the accounts payable badge, we've had an inmate with medicine and the name has come through. And the company that invoices the sheriff's department will put, and I have stricken through that with I've obliterated that name.
Which,
I even asked the company, I said,
Is, according to who is eligible to know that, the sheriff and the sheriff's department, who allow that person to have medicine administered to them,
they know that.
they know that.
They know
Should
that.
they be on our list of people who can know that?
Well, but this is GBS. So,
Right. But we share with them the people that can know that HIPAA protected information. And by virtue of what you just described, the sheriff's office probably should be among those people that can know that because they're gonna know it because it's gonna be administered to inmate 105.
correct. And they see the invoice and they have to know, what are we being billed for?
So the
I mean-
sheriff and the jailer and the administrator down there probably need to be on that list.
But this is for GBS.
Right.
Only, and GBS does not service inmates.
Right, I'm just saying that I caught that from the jail twice. It wasn't the jail's. I mean, it was the vendor who was invoicing the sheriff's department,
Okay.
who was sending an invoice around.
And they weren't being HIPAA compliant.
They were not being, in my opinion, they were not being very HIPAA compliant.
So the contract with the people that administer medical services to the inmates, do we have an agreement with them as to who can see protected information?
I don't know. Is
You
that
know
a
that, Rick?
clause in?
Do what?
The people that administer medical services to your inmates, are you guys among people that could be receiving information?
We
Is
receive it
HIPAA
from
protected?
them, yes.
But you're HIPAA protected. You can know who those people.
Yeah, we have to let their zone go all the way around.
You
We have nurses there that's there, 40 hours a week. And then their doctors come in too. So we're part of what goes on and transpires with those inmates.
So by that contract, you guys have to be.
We have to be notified.
Okay.
Is there particular people at the jail that have that information, or is it known to everyone works there.
Not everybody there has it. Basically, it's the jail does it, or the jail administrator gets it, has that information. But it's basically confined to the jail area itself. Because they're the one that has to be in there with them. They have to go with them to give it to them. They have to get them out. They got to take them into the medical room to get the medication or assist the doctors. You know, we're there with them 24/7 when they're in there. So, you know, it's just part of it. But that's the only way you can do that, really safely.
What else going on, Rick? Anything?
No, just dealing with some of this corona stuff, trying to get that. People asking questions about it.
Sure.
Can you give us a little update on the annex? Where you at on you got it approved to house federal prisoners?
It's not the reason for getting it approved.
No, but in order to segregate potential coronavirus.
Yeah, my thoughts was this, and I'm looking at a lot of other counties, and I've interacted a lot with them and conversations with them too, and they don't really have a place to go. If they had an outbreak, not another county, not another area is going to take their prisoners. Nobody's going to take them.
Right.
I restricted any input or any takes from other counties myself. I don't take them in from other counties. And so I just got to thinking, I said, well, that's available, but if I have somebody that comes down positive, whether it be a state prisoner or a federal prisoner, I would be able to isolate them in those individual holding areas that I have there.
Sure.
And so that would take them out of my population. I could isolate them over here. Medical could take care of them there without bringing them back and forth. But I needed to have the marshals on board, because now if I end up with a federal inmate with it, I can't just pick him up and move him over there without their permission.
Right.
So they came in and it really did me justice, because it usually takes a long time to get a facility approved. But the Marshal Service came in, we went through it with them, and before he walked out of the door, he said, "Go for it." I said, "We like it." I said, this is what we need right here.
And how would, if it comes to that, how would you staff that?
I would just have to skeleton staff it, you know. But by keeping my population down, I can do that, because we're down to 160s.
Oh, that's what Pam had just told us, that she was
That
alerted
was
by
the
the
courts, the prosecutor, and everybody, to keep the population down, try to maintain what we have, try to keep it under control. Bed count is still,
So one of the reasons the general population is down is because there are not being as many people confined due to the lower court actions.
The courts have played a big part of that. But here's another thing too, is that we're controlling not going out and just massively serving warrants. You see what I'm saying? We can go out and serve warrants 24/7, which we do until this outbreak happens. Now, what we've done there is we've backed off and do it. We still have to take our calls. We still have to make arrests, but we just don't go out and hunt these warrant arrests alone that we typically do. You know, we go after. That way, it keeps people from out here in the county or other counties or other part of the state coming into ours, in our environment. Until we get some kind of control of this thing, I want to control as much as I can over in the jail.
Absolutely.
With a less population. And, you know, and I think all of us around the state, as far as sheriffs, are all looking at, you know, this problem.
Do you still have prisoners from other counties? Are you still housing?
I don't bring them in. And typically, you know, they're not going to take them from me, and I'm not going to take them from them. I mean, if it was a worst case scenario because of, you know, whatever the reason may be, then that may have to be considered. But when we bring them in, we're going to isolate them. We're going to make sure that they're, you know, they've been tested by our nurse and medical staff, and make sure that And so I'm gonna try to order, see if they actually should have, we placed the order, whether or not they can get them or fulfill them, I don't know.
Now, PPEs that the sheriff's department would use would be masks, gloves.
We use glove currently and then mask if we have them available. But like everybody else, you know, right now, a lot of the masks we have are really non-protected. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of a joke, but nothing, you know, something's better than nothing. So that's what we do.
Ed Clayton is gonna be in here next Tuesday, Rick. I don't know how he'll no doubt be telling us how their inventory is. If you were in a real pinch and needed some help, they might have some.
I haven't talked to Mike. Stays in contact with the hospital and
Yeah.
the health department, you know, and he deals with them. I don't get in the middle of what they're going back and forth doing. I got enough headaches to run my own without having to worry about them. But basically, anything having to do with the medical side of it, Mike's been taking care of that.
Yeah, and boy, they work together great. Mike
Well,
and health
Mike has a
department.
good relationship with the hospital. He has a good relationship with the health department. So that's, you know, that's a win-win for me instead of me having to do them too. And
Oh, that's great.
Rick, are our transport officers working these days?
They are, but basically they're coming in and out. They have a lot of comp time on their hands, so I told them to burn comp. Once they get their comp time burned down, we still have 96s. We still have stuff we have to haul or go pick up a writ or cord or whatever we have to go get. Feds has started doing the online thing with some of the prisoners if they can do it.
Really?
Yeah. Which is really
Utilizing
good.
our online
Well,
capabilities
so
here.
video, you know, we have that capability down there.
So
We
you,
don't have it in the courtroom, other than a laptop.
so you may have a federal prisoner and you used to have to take them back to St. Louis to
Basically,
show
that's the
up.
way it was until this happened.
And now you're doing it.
We try to do them if the judge will allow us to do it, then we do it. If not, then we won't. But now the judge, you know, the marshal service pay us, you know, for the salaries and per diems and fuel, you know,
Yeah.
so, you know, we get paid to haul in prisoners.
But they're not bringing in new federal prisoners.
They have, but I put a hold on 80 prisoners, all I want to hold.
Okay.
For the time being, until we make other arrangements here, but
But if we get new ones in, are we quarantined?
they
How does
have to
that
be
work?
quarantined, but the marshals also have a restriction on before they pick them up or they ask us to take them, they want to look at them versus just us. But when I get one, we're gonna bring him in and he's gonna be isolated. We're not gonna put him straight in the population until he's examined by the health department, by our health people.
Good. Okay.
But, you know, I'm just trying to, anything that I put in that down there, I don't let the public get in there, I don't like any of them. And that way I keep it as isolated as I can. God forbid if we had an outbreak.
Oh, boy, be tough. Be tough.
So I just try to plan ahead, you know, trying to make sure that I know what I'm gonna do and where I'm gonna go if something's happening. Yeah, actually, the court system, not only on the federal, but on the state side, prosecutors have really been, whatever they can do to help us, they do it.
The violent offenders aren't, well, you're still going after them, but the things that you could delay.
There's a lot of things we have to take care of.
Yeah.
And no matter what the outcome of this is, I gotta take care of it. Still gotta take care of the, you know, the major issues out in the county. That's, you know, assaults and domestic violence and you know, you got stealings and burglaries and, you know, and they're gonna go to jail one way or another.
Sounds like you got it under control, Rick. Good luck with it.
I don't know, every day's a new day for me.
This video thing with the feds is kind of intriguing.
Well, it's gonna be because, you know, and we've been working with Judge Hickle on this thing, and I'd worked with Beaver on this before with his prosecutor about doing one of these courtrooms and that. And that's a smart move because, you know, we save so much time, so much effort, so much manpower going over picking up these writs out of prisons or wherever they're pulled or wherever they may be at, when they can do them right here online. You know, when they can do them up here, they have video screens, pop-up screens. You have defense attorneys that you know, that have the capability of seeing their client, talking to their client independently on this. And a lot of the major courts around this state, the bigger courts like Washington, Franklin, Cole, a bunch of them are all doing that. You know, and it's just time for us to step up to the plate. We asked to use the asset forfeiture fund. They agreed to pay out the 60-some thousand. They agreed to let us use 40-some thousand to pay towards them. So that's what I'm going to do. It's up to Bill to get these other 16 and whatever it is. To do it. But this is what is it, OSHA, who governs the state computer systems and
Oscar.
Oscar. That's
Yeah,
what it is.
Oscar.
I would like, but this is what they said they would recommend. This is
Okay.
so Bill. That's what he wanted to go with, but and like I told him, I wasn't sure that we could assist him on this one because they're getting so restricted. But they agreed to me and Brendan that we could pay the 40-some thousand of it, and then the courts would have to come up with those 16. But for what they're getting, they're getting a lot of that. You can have jury trials on this thing. Never have to set up projectors. You never have to set up anything. It's all right there. You'll have cords and cables running everywhere. The screens would come down out of the ceiling. They'd have new speaker system throughout. Everything would be upgraded. But I agreed to one courtroom only for the time being to see how it's used. You know, and if they use it and it's productive, I think somewhere down the line, whoever it may be should, hopefully help do another court.
Yeah.
But I want to see that it's used. I want to see that it's productive.
Well, now would that be the same system for the federal?
Feds would use it. The feds have that system.
Oh, okay.
They have well above and beyond, a laptop. They have, the federal building up there has all importance. They already have that capability.
Okay. They say it's an ill wind that blows no good, but we're actually learning a lot of things through this crisis that we could
Well,
be doing.
and two is you're learning what's available. You're learning, okay, what happens here? If you don't think ahead of something like this, like, okay, what happens if I have this? Where am I going to go and what am I going to do? This shutting the courthouse down, I thought that would be a bigger pain in the butt for everybody than what it really was. And really it hasn't. There's not been an issue. The bailiffs are content. There's, other than 20, maybe 20 people walking up every day. But other than that, it's still.
Well, they've done a great job for us, best I can tell. Would you agree with that, Pam? They, what'd you say, Monday we had 40 some?
Some 40-some odd people. I don't think anybody needed to come through the actual front door. They dealt with it.
Yeah, they've been taking care of everything in the front there.
And our office holders have been accommodating, I think, to everybody. That's the credit to them.
Yeah, and I think by telling the office holders, if there's somebody you want to see personally, then let us know and we'll get you and we'll go out and pick them up, whatever you want to do.
That's
I
all.
finished my steps going down to the courthouse. You haven't seen it.
I did see them. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I after the building was done, I said, I don't like this. So I got a hold of Nash and they come and looked at it. I got a hold of Don and he come and looked at the concrete. But I wanted to be able to bring them out of the building without taking them to the front. You see what I'm saying? I didn't want them to get out there and have to bring them around the building, bring them up here. So I said, if I can just take them into the Sally door, take them out this door, and then bring them up, then I can go straight into that door right there.
At the corner of the building.
Right there at the corner of the building.
Yeah, that's what it was designed for.
That's what it's for. And that's why I said, that's what I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And so it's completed. Then we had a trash dumpster pad poured and / boxes poured out there back on that grassy area. It's
So they would come in that long corridor, which is a secure corridor, right to the elevator, which can be dedicated and go right up to the courtroom.
That's right.
Well, that's what the building was designed for. Before we ever had your jail and office down here, we were assuming that's the way they were going to travel. And that's good to know. That's good to know.
That's why I did it. That's why I said just we're gonna build the steps down there, and I wanted them wide enough and big enough for somebody chained up to get up and down them. I wanted handrails on them. And so they turned out. And actually, I got to give them all credit. They did a good job.
Great.
Trustees are painting it. Same color as the building, trim of the building.
That's awesome. Hopefully they'll use video arraignment a lot, but there'll be times when they've got to come
Well,
down.
it'd be so much handier for them, other than having 70 people up in a courtroom. Yeah. You know, most of them have nothing in the courtroom other than they want to watch it, or it's a friend of a friend of a friend who's going up, or may get a sentence or whatever else. But, you know, at least the judges have that option that if they wanted to say, we're going to do, Rick, we're going to do all your people that are scheduled over here on video. So I have them ready to go on videos. We'll just do it right here. Instead of me packing them up and bringing them across the parking lot, chained together, somebody's going to get hurt doing that.
Oh, that's bad business. That's
So
bad.
if they will do that, you cut my walking prisoner to this building well over half.
That would be great.
Okay, I had my 2 cents.
Oh,
Good to see you, Rick.
Well, hopefully this will be over with for long.
we were talking about that earlier. How are we gonna know when it is?
Well, I don't know that you do. Pam had better knowledge of that than me. I don't know how you judge. It's not here, it is here. You know, I don't know.
The last thing you want to do is relax everything and have a resurgence. So it's gonna be a tough call. Don't even be the governor having to make the stay-at-home order renewal or expire, one or the other.
I would not be surprised that he don't extend it. You know, now it's up to the end of April. That's where it's at.
The 24th.
Yeah, I foreseen
And he may look at it, he may start looking at it weekly. And he probably looks at it daily.
Well, you know,
And
it does,
and
yeah.
so, they're watching it.
Oh, they're gonna stay on top of it. I mean, now they're making makeshift hospitals in St. Louis, motels.
Yeah, I did see something
National
about that.
Guard is doing a lot of it.
Yeah, converting, what was one of the hotels, a motel, was it, whatever, into a makeshift hospital.
Yeah, some kind of a makeshift hospital.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Relieve some of the pressure on the emergency rooms.
Well, somebody told me the other day, they sent me an email, said that a lot of the employees from Southwest and American were diagnosed with it. You know, I took someone to the airport last week to catch a flight out that morning. And this is no kidding. I had 3 lanes of 270 at 8:30 in the morning to myself. I hit 70, same thing. I pulled down there to unload there to arrival. There was nobody in the parking lot. One security guard. So when I started to leave, you know, you go by all them big parking lots for the airport. Nothing. I mean, it was blank. One of my girls down there, her husband works for airport security up there in St. Louis. I saw him the other day and I said, man, I didn't see anybody. He said, Rick, it's dead. I said, there's more security than there is people.
Well, people are following the governor's order then.
But I guess they are. Even in our interstates out here, I was out on the interstate early this morning, and I mean, that truck traffic's still a little bit, but not much.
I hope there's a truck full of toilet paper heading our way.
It was. It's the one turned over down in Texas and it burned up. That was yours. I just went out and bought corn cobs. I said,
Oh,
there you
man.
go.
Hey, Rick.
I saw a thing that said, remember when you were a kid, you wanted weekends to last forever? Now you got your wish.
I don't like it.
No. Hold your breath on us to see how many of your businesses come back. First of all, they do come back, and second of all, come back healthy.
Oh, boy. I wonder if we can tell if we get comments on here, Pam. Does Peter tell us if we get a comment on the internet? That thing dinged a minute ago and I didn't know what it was trying to tell me.
A little bit.
Coffee break?
What do you want, an inch or so?
Yeah, just warm it up. In fact, just go ahead and hit me pretty hard. Thank you.
More than welcome.
Anybody? Morning, Sissy. This is Randy. Would you let Mark know that we've been briefed on a grant opportunity to replace the Bradford pears around the courthouse, 75-25 reimbursement possibility with the Missouri Department of Conservation. Have him stop by and we'll brief him on what we know. Thanks.
Did you get her voicemail?
Sissy? No? Oh, yeah, I got her voicemail
Oh,
just
I
now.
was like, because I've called her 3 times and she hasn't answered, so I don't think she's here.
Oh, I did get her voicemail. Tried Mark, his didn't pick up either.
Or Mark never.
All over the state. Oh, yeah.
Yep, just kicked on.
Got the governor's supplemental budget here.
Say it again, please.
The governor's supplemental budget.
Oh, okay. Said he was gonna cut higher education. I heard him say that a week ago.
So,
Heard him say he was gonna cut higher education. I don't know what else he's done.
well, I think he's pulled some money out of the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security Act.
Really?
Federal funds for 200 million federal funds to higher education, workforce development, distribution, institution of higher education. That act. Additional 1,071 million federal funds to office administration for distribution units of local government for necessary expenditures incurred due to the health emergency.
Hmm.
And
And
additional.
that's, all. Largely with Ashley.
A lot of it. We'll have to talk to Kelly and make sure she's, I know she is.
That can't be finance.
Sarah sent this to me. Oh, man. And I think you can.
So
This is the overview from the Nurses Association.
we have a question. And that is,
So I have been getting reports and comments about like businesses selling like mixed drinks to go, like in a to-go cup.
Okay.
And I had contacted Shara with tobacco and alcohol control. And she had mentioned that places can sell alcohol to go as long as they have a certain license and it has to be in a sealed container. So unopened can of beer, bottle, whatever. But they cannot like make a margarita and take it to go. So I've had lots of reports from lots of different businesses that they are doing such of mixed drinks and then taking them to go and stuff. So I'm gonna call around businesses today, tell them that they cannot do that. But how would you like me to go further if it still happens after I warn them?
Well, the sheriff's department is who enforces. Well, maybe not. That could be the Missouri.
This would be in the city of Raleigh.
I would
Well,
think mostly.
Yeah,
Like to, that would almost be RPD, wouldn't it?
Well, it would be. I mean, Pam's office does the liquor licenses, but we have no enforcement of that.
That would be up to the Liquor Control Board of
alcohol
the state of Missouri.
okay.
It does, but I think if you know offenders by name, I'm assuming you do.
Don't give me
Don't,
yours.
I
So,
won't say
I
anything,
mean,
but yes,
well,
I
yes
do
or no?
know.
Okay. Whosever jurisdiction that is, if it's inside the city of St. James, Raleigh, Newburgh, has some law enforcement.
Okay.
In there, that should not.
In,
be
in the event they are not, actually, Katie was gonna call those folks and let them know that the
Yes.
law, according to the state board, says you cannot do that.
Yes.
And they may not be aware of that, because these
Right.
are exceptional times. And I
Yes.
suspect they're not aware. But it stands to reason you can't hand somebody a margarita and let them drive away, hold it over.
Yeah,
Well, it's happening, I'll tell you.
yeah.
Well, it shouldn't be.
I mean, there are some states that as long as you don't have a straw in the cup, it's fine. Or like if you put like, some people can give you a margarita to go as long as they put like a little sticker over the straw hole. And then as long as that's how it leaves your facility, is a sticker over the straw hole, no straw in it, then that is legal. Just so
Well,
here.
let's think about that a minute.
Here's a problem with that, though. If you start making calls, you're gonna get those questions.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to answer those questions?
Yeah,
About how it's legal and how it's not legal?
yes, I
Okay.
have contacted Shara and she sent me this big long email of all of the laws and where to find it, like Rismo and stuff like that. And I have all like the subsections and
You can get people, businesses emails, you just shoot it right back out.
Oh, there's a good idea. There's
This
a good
is
idea.
what,
Yeah, that's what the law says.
this is
If
what.
you
our
want to be a law-abiding
state-
citizen, this is what you need
Yeah.
to do. when you signed on to this outfit, do you ever think you'd get to be an expert on drinks to go?
No, no, I did not. But,
If you're able to email, and that's your preferred way of going about business,
mhm.
please carbon copy
Okay,
the jurisdiction.
Yep.
The RPD, St. James PD, whatever,
okay,
Edgar Springs, Marshall, whatever.
okay,
Make sure they're aware that that's happening too, so that
Right.
enforcement doesn't fall totally back on your office.
right, okay. All righty, sounds good. That's
You really
just-
think there's a lot of that going down, huh?
I do.
Yeah, 100%.
Big advertising.
Yeah,
Being advertised.
yes.
I mean, that has been against the regulations.
Forever.
Well, you can't
Because-
drive with an open container and how, I mean, unless you're standing there on the curb drinking it.
Well, and even if you were in a restaurant before this all occurred and you had a margarita and you didn't quite get it finished,
Yeah,
you didn't get a go cup.
yeah, exactly.
The waitress said, "Oh no, we can't do that."
So I don't know why it's so different now, I guess, but
Is Missouri one of the states where you can
No.
take one if it's got a sticker over the straw hole?
No.
No.
I don't know exactly how many, but I think it's probably around 7 or 8 different states that do that.
Well, Lord knows they can use the business and we don't want,
Yeah,
if there's a way to, it's a sealed container, so if they put a lid on it or somehow.
yeah, if you wanna go into a restaurant and say, with my order, I want a Michelob Ultra in a bottle, they can sell you that as long as you're over 21. It is a sealed container. You are not already under the influence. And the person that carries it out to you has to be 21. I think that's it.
That would all seem logical enough.
Yeah, they have to properly check your ID, of course.
Which they always do anyway.
Yeah.
You carry that burden. Okay.
They don't check mine anymore, man. What's up with that?
Well, they check mine. They want to know if I get the senior discount. Well, they used to check. Now they don't even check that. They just give it to me. It works.
The Dollar General has to card.
Yeah.
I tried to buy a bottle of wine there not long ago from the one in Vichy, actually. And they said, we have to card you. And I go, my driver's license is buried this deep in my wallet, right on the trying to find my driver's license. I
Yeah.
said, really?
Yeah.
Obviously not, right? It says, there's video on us, and if I don't check, I get fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, company policy.
And I think they even enter your birth date in the register
Yep,
when they
and
look at your license.
Walmart is if you're over 40, they don't or something. I don't know if that's changed now, but
Well, that would be confusing for them because they don't look like 40.
sometimes I don't even get carded, so
Who knows?
Yeah.
I've carded you.
so yeah, I just wanted to let you know that that's happening.
All right, thanks, Katie, and thank you for staying on top of this. You do a great service for those businesses, and as we said, Lord knows we want to get all the business they
Yeah.
can in this trying time, but we want to do it legally. So.
You know, I wonder if, let me think about this for a second. If it wouldn't be somehow easier to go through either our business licenses and the city's business licenses, particularly Rolla and St. James, just to educate. Here's when it's legal and here's when it's not.
Right,
That may save you from having to go to individual businesses,
right,
but to go through the people that do provide alcohol. Well, we've got a list of all those, don't we? Anybody that serves alcohol in any capacity has to come to Phelps County. Take those and do more of an educational type of
right,
email rather than a
right, like a pointing finger.
pointing finger thing. Says here's what it's legal, here's what it's not,
Right.
and then probably
As a routine, do you have their emails? Katie, or do you? No. Also,
So what comes through on the state website that I get, I check it every Monday. I get the business phone number and a manager's phone number.
no
They
email.
don't give any emails. I have emails for a couple of the wineries, but that's pretty much it.
well, then it's more burden. My thought was more burdensome than what you're proposing.
Well, I mean, if I could get them, that would be fantastic either way, just to have it on file. But
How many liquor licenses do we have here in Phelps County? Bunches.
100 more, maybe.
Seems like a lot. But everybody
Andrew.
needs to be educated, don't they?
Yeah.
But everybody needs to be educated about what they can and cannot do.
Yes. And we had a training in, was it last June? July. It was July 1st and July 3rd, I think, that we had them. And we had a training where Shara came up here. We did over in the multi-purpose room, where she just kind of went over like the different kind of licenses, how to check IDs properly, stuff like that. And we're planning on doing another one this year if we can ever get over the virus stuff. And
You wouldn't want to
In
congregate.
between the elections.
yeah, and between elections and stuff, we can get over in the multi-purpose room.
What I might suggest, Katie, is that Andrew might consider this worthy of a story.
Okay.
At the newspaper. You might give him a call and tell him about this conversation. And maybe the Raw Data News too. Anybody that wants to cover it, that would be one way to get the word out. Not only to the
Right.
vendors, but to the citizens who might be the customers.
Trying to buy the margaritas to go.
Right. Yeah, they don't want to drive down the road illegal any more than we want them to,
Right.
you know. So that might be a possibility.
Okay.
Do you have Andrew's number? You've got it, I bet,
I
man.
can probably get it.
Okay.
in the forest.
Yeah.
They might put it online.
Yeah, that would help too, just to get the word out that
Right.
what you can, what works.
And then, what about, like, what should we do if somebody is waiting for their food inside, that their carryout order? What if they make a margarita right there inside and they drink it inside?
No, that's against the spirit of this law.
I would say.
I have
How
seen that too. I've seen that.
Yeah.
a lot.
So how should I go about that as well?
Well, that would be something you'd cover in this same distribution
thing.
information, yeah.
Okay.
How many offenders do you think you have that you know of?
4.
Okay. Oh. So if you go ahead and contact them directly,
Mhm.
have you received complaints? Is that how?
I have received a couple of messages on Facebook from people that know what I do here, and they're just like, oh, hey, heads up, this is happening, or hey, I seen this or something. Just kind of, yeah, not like a hey, they are doing this, but hey, I heard they're doing this, or hey, I've seen this. Or
Well, and then they may or may not be, if you got it on
Right.
Facebook, you don't know, so.
right, 100%.
Yeah, so you could soften the pointy finger thing by saying this has been,
Right.
some reports of this or whatever. You'll handle that.
But I like the idea of using the media
Okay.
to
Yeah.
educate people about what they can and cannot do. Because as you say, they're educating not only the businesses, but
Consumers, sure. And an awful lot of people are following the news these days to
Right.
keep up with what's happening with all this. So it might
Yep.
be a really effective way to get the word out.
because if I know Andrew, that story will appear on Facebook. More people will see it on Facebook
Yes.
than will see it from the actual newspaper.
Yep.
Might very well be.
Okay.
Thanks,
Alright.
Katie. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for your capable service, dear.
You're
Appreciate
welcome. I just want to keep you in the loop on what's going on. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
thank you.
Hey, Katie. Did such a good job. Would you like a shortbread?
No, thank you.
Take those out there and pass them around, would you, before I eat them all? Make my Girl Scout, a shortbread cookie, you want one? My Girl Scouts.
I don't do
be
this
pleased
good as
to
you
see
do, pushing them out there.
It's a sanitary way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of hard. You're good at it though.
I practice a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Girl Scout.